All right. Welcome to another episode of the Coaches Code with me, Coach Hamilton. Glad to be here. Another beautiful afternoon here in the beautiful city of Shreveport, Bossier, Louisiana. For those here at different places, here we're grateful for an opportunity to get with you. For those who have followed me in the past, it used to be the Coaches Sanctuary and changed over, rebranded to the Coaches Code. And as you can see there on the flyer, I'm having my first coaches clinic here in Shreveport, Louisiana, at Centenary College, located here, and it's going to be on Saturday, March 29th, 2025, from 9 to 3. The registration link is there at the bottom, eddiejhamilton.com. We're definitely, man, just excited for this opportunity. To be able to share with coaches. And this is for coaches for all sports and all levels. So this is not a basketball coaching clinic. You see a basketball there on the picture. That's not what it is. It's for all coaches from elementary, middle school to high school to college, whatever level. We hope to be able to empower coaches to prioritize their well-being while developing environments and creating environments for students to thrive in sports and in life. So it's a challenge. The Coaches Code is a challenge to be the best version of ourselves so that we can serve our children, our student athletes. There's so much going on in this day and time, and we need to be as well-grounded as possible. Even though we're fallible, even though we're humans, we make mistakes, but we want to make sure we have a foundation set for us to be the best version of ourselves. On this next page here, I'll show you also how this birthed. This is the Coaches Code. That's the framework that I developed over the years. This is my 20th year coaching, and I can't believe I've been around this long doing this. And when I tell you the Coaches Code was birthed out of not just success, but out of a lot of failure as well. Years ago, a little over 10, 11 years ago, man, I had instances in my life where I could have lost my family. Man, I was just not a consistent person, not a congruent person. And I was at a stage where I was ready to give up. And I believe that the Lord arrested my heart and placed something in my heart, man. I went through therapy, went through counseling, and I still go to therapy. I choose to, because this is a constant development of myself, to try to be the best I can. And so what I've done over the last 20 years is develop a framework to help myself and to help other coaches. As you can see there, C means coach with purpose. All right. O is optimize team dynamics. E is drive success through well-being. And E is to empower through modeling. So I want to make sure that that's the message that we're getting across as we do this podcast, as we do these lives, as we do this clinic, to get coaches to take a look at ourselves and find out how we can be better at what we do to serve the student athletes that we have. So that brings me to this gentleman right here. Very excited to have him to be a part of the show today. He's somebody who I have a lot of respect for. I was able to coach his son for 3 years at Airline. Sometimes I think they got the worst of me over there. But I'm grateful for his example. I'm grateful for his life. And he's joining us today to talk a little bit about the clinic, about he's a coach and a parent. So you get a chance to hear a different dynamic today from somebody who's built a business of coaching. I'm not going to get into all the details. I'm going to let him introduce himself and share his journey. And also had the privilege of coaching his son. He's one of my favorite guys ever. And I'm so grateful I got a chance to meet him, and we still stay in contact to this day. And I'm excited and proud of the steps that he's taken. We call him affectionately OG, and y'all gonna find out in a while. So welcome, man. My next guest is gonna be. I just recently found out that he had another label, so I'm gonna call him Coach and Pastor. Jason Ogley coming in, man. We are excited to have you here. So great for you taking out your afternoon to spend a little time talking. We're going to have us some fun today.
Well, man, I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. I hope I can be of informational and any help. I look forward to trying.
Well, the biggest thing is just having a candid conversation and us having an opportunity just to talk. I mean, people are just coming in on a conversation that we're having. Because even though we've known each other for a little while, there's always new things to learn in any relationship. And for those of y'all that's out here, this is a relationship that I value. I value, and I'm so grateful that he's allowed me into he and his family's life to this point. So we're gonna jump right in. Now, what do you want me to call you? You want me to call you JC? You want me to call you Pastor? You want me to call
Jason
you?
is Jason is fine. Jason is fine.
Yeah, man. So man, look, you got a diverse background. Okay, very diverse background from competitive cheerleading to entrepreneurship to ministry to husband to father. I mean, tell us about your journey and how you know. As a matter of fact, before we connect all of them, let's go here. So you own a company that do competitive cheer.
Yeah.
Um, what at what point in your life did you know that this was a direction that you wanted to go, whether it started in high school, college? When did you know, man, I want to have a competitive cheerleading company to help
Yeah.
young people in our area?
Yeah. Well, my story is a little different than hear a lot of people maybe start off. Well, I already had this dream, or I had, man. Honestly, my wife and I cheered in college. We met. She cheered at Southwest Texas. I cheered at Delta State. We met teaching camps for Universal Cheerleaders Association. Um, we just had that background, and I went to school to cheer. I just enjoyed it after I got out of basketball. It was just something that kept me kind of working and goals, in college and stuff. But then, really, after we got married, I was working for Willis Knighton as an exercise in one of their fitness centers and stuff, but it wasn't going to pay the bills. It wasn't going to quite be enough of what we needed. And I had started teaching gymnastics when I was cheering at Bipsy here
Okay.
locally, right after high school. And I just enjoyed working with kids. I enjoyed the fun of the activity of cheerleading and gymnastics and tumbling and the challenge of it, but mainly I really enjoyed working with kids. I liked it. And matter of fact, I never felt like I was going to work. I'd had jobs where it was work. That was something that I couldn't believe I was getting paid to do it. But then when we got back here and I started teaching some lessons, when my lessons just started growing to a point where I started looking at it, I'm like, I think we could maybe find a place and rent it out on our own and maybe start something ourselves, and we rented out a little building behind Holiday Lanes here in Bossier City,
Okay.
and we didn't have bathrooms, we didn't have electricity. we The bowling alley told our kids to quit coming over there because we weren't buying anything. We were just using all their toilet paper. But it was horrible.
Yeah.
Man, and it's crazy how God blessed during that time, because we grew in that little building. Like what does everybody do when you can't have a restroom? Well, I got a portalet on site, for a couple months, and we ran our electricity off of a generator to that building.
Wow.
I mean, had anybody from the city walked into that place, they'd have shut us down immediately, But this guy just wasn't finishing the building, but we already had customers wanting service, but it grew to about 80 kids while we were in that. And it got to a point where Willis Knighton was like, "Hey man, you got to pick." And man, that was a big leap of faith right there. Willis Knighton was insurance. It was a steady job. But the Lord really did a lot of work on me during that time. It was like, hey, you're either gonna, I think of Proverbs 3:5, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, lean not on thine own understanding,
Yeah.
I could have stayed on my own understanding, but God was challenging me to trust it, man. And I'm gonna tell you what, has he blessed? I mean, of course, I got war stories the whole time, but
Yeah.
it's been amazing to see what he's done, because we left that building, we started renting a building over in Shreveport. Program grew to over 200 in that building. We were busting at the seams. I ran across a guy, which I don't think anything happens by accident. I mean, God is completely sovereign, and my sister ended up marrying a guy that had land on East 70th Street, right near Jimmy Davis Bridge. One of the only bridges from Shreveport to Bossier. So what a great, location. He said, "Man, I've got this property, and I'd like to do a build to suit on it." And I'm like,
Okay.
"I'm your guy." Well, he built us a building, a little over 10,000 square foot building. My wife and I were like, this will never need anything more than this. This is it. And we didn't really want to. Renting was good for us, so we just didn't know how
Okay.
long we'd be in it. At that time, we'd been in it about 4 or 5 years, and we stayed at that location for almost 11 or 12 years, and we were busting at the seams. And man, then all of a sudden, we decided to try to buy some or build something on our own, and that's where we're at now. And so it's really my story to get me into that. It's just God kept just opening doors, opening doors, opening doors. And we just kept stepping through them, by faith. And boy, he has really shown himself, because now we service about 550 to 600 kids a week. It is absolutely. I mean, I'm telling you, man. And he's grown a team with us at the same time. I got several of our coaches. We have a coaching staff of about 13, maybe about, considering our student coaches, maybe 15 to 16 coaches that we service all of those kids with. So I mean, we're short staffed like most places, I guess, but it's been, we've got a great team that's grown with us. A lot of our coaches, I coach them, and now they've got families of their own, and it's crazy how much God has really just shown out, man. It's been pretty cool. But yeah, that's how we got into that. It was just one thing after another, and one leap of faith. After we'd been in business for 13 years, and then we decided to build that other building. I remember watching a bank account just go drop.
Yeah.
I sat in the parking lot of our gym now, and just, oh my goodness, I'm talking head. I remember that moment. It was a scary moment. I literally was worried about being able to pay our coaches. I did not have enough in the bank to take care of payroll that was coming in a matter of about a week.
Yeah.
And man, he's faithful, man. He's faithful. He got us through that, and now we've got to see it just keep growing, and it's been cool. But that's how we got into the cheer business, man. That's how we got into that. Yeah.
At another time, I'm gonna dig into it a little bit more, because I got some more questions on that one.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna wait. I got some more questions on that one, but I'm gonna stay focused right now.
Yeah, I can go on and on about it. I'm trying not to go too off track, but
well, I mean, you're on track, because people need to hear this. I mean, because even for myself, I think I said this to you earlier. Learning how to be an entrepreneur. Learning how to do that. Like, because we don't go to school and learn how to run a business. We don't know how to do that. And so the steps that you're able to take and go through, man, that's, like I said,
we've had to make a lot of mistakes. I mean, we've had to make a lot of mistakes, and unfortunately, we've had to listen to our critics. I try not to do it too much, because boy, it can just really get you down. But you got to listen to people, and I've learned. I read something somewhere. Leaders are readers, and I like to read, and I've read a lot of things through the years of people that have gone a lot further down the road than I have, and we've learned a lot through that, and then tried to apply that. Right? How can we apply that in our own business to serve our customers? Because really, when it comes down to it, all we are is offering a service. We're a service business like anybody else, and so if we can make those kids, have fun, they want to have fun. And if we can, help them build skills and develop relationships and things like that, I mean, it's a win, man. I mean, it's a win. We may not win every competition, but if we can win in the life of each kid, then bro, they're gonna. We don't do any advertising. It's just word of mouth,
Wow.
And
wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm every ad agency's worst phone call because I just I'm like, it's a waste of money, and I'm not saying that boastfully at all, but it's
Yeah,
just like we can't get our money back, because
yeah,
from what we've spent on advertising. But
yeah,
if we just provide a good service to every kid, and that's a
yeah,
challenge. I mean, you said it earlier, it's a constant thing, and man, you think Amber and I, my wife, we constantly are saying you'd think we would be out of the diaper stages with this business, but sometimes I feel like we're still trying to burp this thing like a child, like because it's constant, and then as
yeah,
we grown, it's got more things, but there's certainly a lot of things that are, much easier and better than they were when they at the beginning,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Well, I tell you, man. So with you building, building this company along with your wife, and y'all recently celebrated anniversary, right?
Yeah, Monday,
Yeah,
24
yo,
years.
shit,
Yeah.
yeah. Man, 24 years. My wife and I made 23 years in December, so we right
Awesome.
behind you. Yeah,
Awesome.
and so with your growth in your marriage, and then of course having children, um, all of these things that you're going through, and then you're in ministry as well. So there's got to be a connection there, and it's like after being married for so long, being a father, how has your family life influenced your approach to coaching and leadership as a whole? Have you,
Yeah.
is it a direct correlation? Is it something that's separate that you bring it to? How has that developed you as a entrepreneur, and a minister, with how your family has developed over the years?
Man, we've connected it all since the beginning. We never had anything that our kids weren't involved with. Now I'll say, that was a challenge, and really when it comes to like the spiritual, we've tried to put God first in everything that we do. I mean, if you walk in our business, it won't take long to see, scripture on the wall. I mean, people know when they walk in that they're walking into a business, and I hesitate to use the term Christian business.
Yeah,
But you know what? We are Christians, and we're trying to do our best to try
yeah,
to bring glory to God, and be a good light for people that, maybe they don't know Christ, and so people see that, but our kids have been involved in that. That has helped us I believe, in our kids seeing us try to model that. Now they know their dad, and they know
yeah,
that I fall short every single day. But they've tried to see that. I've hopefully they've been able to see a humble enough guy to admit it. When I
mhm,
was wrong and when I've done wrong, and when something maybe I handled something incorrectly, but how to tie it all together. I mean, we've really just tried to keep the Lord first, um, and really listen to Him. Like, hey man, or allowing Him, because I don't know how many people that watch this are Christians, but I
mhm,
believe the Holy Spirit that lives in me
mhm,
convicts me when I'm not doing something right.
yeah,
And if that might be, whether I'm you know, not giving a good enough service, or not, I didn't handle the situation with a parent wrong. Maybe I let my temper get the best of me when dealing with a parent, which is hard not to do at
I
times.
can't
But
see that with you.
oh my goodness, you ain't been around cheer moms, man. I'm gonna tell you what. Yeah, but I don't know. Basketball parents pretty rough too, man. That's for
Oh
sure,
my God, yeah, yeah,
man. But and our kids were involved in all of it. So now our daughter, thankfully, our daughter loved cheer.
mhm,
So she just grew up in it and was right there with us every step of the way. Now Colby, he didn't want anything to do with it. Like he was when he was little, he liked bouncing on the trampolines and all of that. But when he got to 12 or 13 years old, he didn't want to be up there. All he wanted to be doing was playing basketball, which I couldn't blame him for that. But
yeah,
we thought it would change when he got in high school, because there's a lot of girls up there, and I'm thinking,
right,
oh, he'll like
right,
being around. He still
right,
didn't want to be around there, man. But
yeah,
I think he's a little shy. But it was we always had him in the middle of everything. I mean, like,
yeah,
and then thankfully, being the youth pastor at our church, everything we did as a youth department, my kids were there. I was with them. So we just always got to do everything together, which was super cool. I'll tell you, balance is tough.
Yeah,
And one thing about when you ask about all those different facets, I can't help but think, there's times that I get out of balance, and I wish I could say I never get out of balance now that I've learned,
yeah, yeah.
but you get out of balance. But that's, one of the laws of balance is constant correction. You have to make corrections all the time.
Right, right.
And unfortunately, we've gotten out of balance, but we try to get back in balance. We're kind of in one of those phases right now in our life with
Yeah,
we're a little out of balance with work. We
yeah.
really, really are. And I need to get that back. We're working to get that
Yeah.
back to where I'm a little more balanced on things. But
It's funny you go in that direction because that was actually going to be the next question. Because one of the things that I've I'm, I've learned and still learning, like still figuring it out, but here we use that term, and a lot of times it's like it's almost in a negative kind of negative when we talk about balance.
yeah,
We're trying to balance everything out, but like you said, balance is constant correction. Well,
constant.
if you well, that's the Christian walk.
Yeah, that's it.
Constant corrections. Like so, it's like because we are fallible and we are in this flesh, we're gonna sin, we're gonna make bad decisions,
Yeah,
things like that. But ultimately, that's where God's grace keeps us, and the correcting, because that's the thing. We can't do it. We can't just self correct on our own. We got to have something to help guide us in that. And I'm talking to myself at the same time because I'm thinking while I'm listening to what you're saying. If you think about it, if we just say what's the priority right now, I think we stop talking about balance,
yeah,
in a negative way. I think it's just if you stop for a moment and just look at your schedule, okay, what's the priority right now? What
mm,
needs to be done right now? And then tomorrow, and we look at it in that standpoint, I think that it can help us. And like I said, we're coaches here. We're coaches. This is what we do. You're coaches, parents, husbands. You're balancing business, but like I said, the mentality that we have behind it a lot of times in American culture, I think we use it as a negative. But like you said something. It's always correcting. It's
always.
just
Yeah.
it's always corrected, and so
Well,
because we
'cause-
know that we make mistakes, we
yeah,
still can't look at that as a hindrance and a downfall. It's just, hey, I'm gonna mess up. It's like how we coach.
yeah,
Kid that's tumbling or flipping, they miss, and we're encouraging them. Hey, don't worry about it. You're gonna fall. That's okay. Let's
mhm,
keep going. Let's keep figuring out what is that we're doing wrong, and we keep on. So we were
yeah.
constantly correcting. So
And
with
keeping a
that,
good focal point too, like
yeah,
because if you're balancing something, you have to have the focal point to what you're balancing. Well, in a life, what's your focal point? Like, as a Christian, I want to glorify the Lord with my life. I
right,
want Him. I want when this is all said and done, I'd really like for Him to say, "Hey, man, well done. You did good.
that's right,
Hey, you messed up,
yeah,
but you did good." You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so if you have that focal point good, and your true north, I guess you hear that said a lot.
yeah,
If your
yeah,
true north is on the right priorities, then when you do get off balance, you got that to bring you back into balance.
right.
Uh, I don't know what people do, if they don't have that true north. Like or at least something that drives them. That is
Yeah,
their reason for being.
yeah.
Because otherwise, I don't know how you would know when you're off balance. And things like that.
You
Yeah.
just said words that are in my framework.
Oh yeah.
Coach with purpose. That's got to be. We got to know that. Optimizing our team's dynamics. We got to make sure that we are getting the most out of the situation that we're in.
Hmm.
Okay. Instead of looking at what we don't have, we got to look at the situation that we're in. And if we go Bible, about the woman the widow whose husband was dead, who left her with a lot of debt, and they wanted to come get her sons, and Elijah asked, "So what do you have?" Well, I got this oil in here. Okay, that's what you got. I got to use what
Yeah.
I got most out of what I have. And then you said, what drives us? Well, what the Coaches Code wants to do is to drive through well-being. We don't sacrifice our well-being as coaches, husbands, and fathers in order just to win a game.
It
You
can
want to
do
make
it.
sure you're
It can do
winning
it. Yeah.
along with, you know, not sacrificing, our well-being and our health as a
Mm.
person. Like, so you said those things and it went right to like, man, this is what the clinic is about. This is
Yeah.
what, and that's what we're here today. We're talking about what coaches are going to receive when they come to the Coaches Code Clinic. They're going to
Mm.
get a chance to hear this perspective from you, and getting to dig a little deeper and ask questions, being able to try to figure out how do we do this life without it driving us crazy. You know what I'm
It can
saying?
do it. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it
man.
does. It does drive us nuts. But
Yeah.
that's the whole point of this push that I'm doing is to get us coaches to realize, man, a job is to take care of your family. Like that's
Yeah.
what a job is for. And while you're on your job, you said it, work is unto the Lord. Glorify the Lord with our life so that we can take care of our families because our
Right.
families are our number one priority over everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's
Well, I
one of
think
the things that I hope that we get back to.
absolutely. And I mean, for me, I want his blessings on all of that, all of the
Mm.
aspects that we're talking about. And I feel like when we glorify him, that he can bless what we're doing. Not that, if we're doing something wrong, he's not going to
Mm.
bless that. But,
Mhm.
Matthew 6:33, seek him first and the
Mhm.
kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you, like when we put him first, then he can take care of the rest,
Yeah.
But whenever I get him off of his rightful place, then oh man, that's when troubles happen, And unfortunately, when you're dealing with people, it's easy to get off track, and
Ah.
on that, yeah, yeah,
I'm a living witness.
it can do it, man, it can
I'm
do
a
it.
living witness, man. Oh man, and I'm grateful for you. And we'll talk about it a little bit more. But y'all were able to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what I appreciate about you all, your family, the position that you hold as an entrepreneur as well. It helped you all to empathize with me when I was struggling with certain things, and I felt that from you all. I felt it from you all, and I'm grateful, man. It's my little tangent, and I'm just so
Mhm.
grateful
Yeah.
that even though I am a minister, but during that time, man, I was stressed because I had
Yeah.
the wrong focus. I did not
Oh,
have my focus on glorifying God with my life. I was saying the right things, but I wasn't focused on it, man. And so I'm grateful for you. And we're gonna transition to the next thing here. And so you're gonna be speaking at our clinic. You're gonna be part of a panel. That panel is going to be coming overcoming, challenges, modern coaching challenges. So, with having 20 years experience of what you're doing, you have seen a lot change over the years with dealing with students, kids, and parents. And so, what are some of the biggest challenges today that you see coaches going through right now? What do you see?
well, to me, kids haven't changed that much,
There you go.
but parenting has changed a lot.
Okay. Okay.
And I would say mainly, if I were just to try to narrow it down to one thing, it's the discipline. There's a bad lack of it.
Okay.
There's wanting something for nothing type attitude. And see, we deal with a lot of different people, and I have over the years. But in our gym, we've got people that come from really all different walks of life. I see people that like struggle to pay their tuition,
Mm-hmm.
and their kids are some of the best kids that I coach, and they're disciplined and they're respectful. They have a lot of character already as a teenager. And then I see people that probably live in $1 million homes, come
Mm-hmm.
in, and I'm not throwing stones at either one of these people, but
Right.
they're doing well, but their kids have not 1 ounce of discipline, not 1 ounce of
Mm.
character, not
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that everybody in either is the same, but
Right.
to me, the lack of discipline, and then what we get is we'll get parents, they want to bring them to us to get that discipline in 4 hours a week or two
Yeah.
hours a week, and I'm like, I, you know, I, it's just not going to happen,
Right.
and when they get too old, if they don't do the hard things early, by the time we get them they're probably not. It's too late. Like when I
Yeah.
get them on my team, if they still got problems like that, I'm coaching teenage kids. That's probably one of the biggest challenges is, and maybe this has been forever, but people wanting something for nothing. They don't want to put the work in.
Yeah.
They're like they want to like there's some magic potion to success or something
Yeah.
when it
Yeah.
is it is full. It is full of hard work,
Yeah.
and it's full of consistency. And I think parents, and we've had some success in our program over the years. And sometimes people come thinking that we're just going to work these miracles or something
Yeah.
when it's just not the case. I mean, our the the, the equation for success has been the same since day one. I mean, you got
Never
to work
changed.
hard and you got to stay at it. I mean, work hard and keep on going. And learn from
Man.
mistakes and keep going.
Yeah.
But that's probably the biggest challenge I see. And I mean, honestly, our Colby playing basketball, we did the whole travel ball and all this stuff like that. And there's a lot of, and I think kids get it from parents. I don't blame it much on the kids as I do the parents, but the kids with like this entitlement,
Yeah.
I can do this. You need to give me this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, that's just not how it works. It's just, you know, so, and really to go back kind of to, this is back off topic, but with what you said, in those years at when Colby was playing with you, I know those were rough years on you, but my wife and I, we talked so much about, we believe that your heart was to really help those boys. Whether if somebody didn't agree with your method or whatever the case, we believed that your heart was to try to help our boy, and I believe the rest of those boys. And so that was why it was, that we were on board with you, as we believed deep down that you wanted, that was your intent.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciate that, man. It's
uh,
that speaks volumes. It does, and that's the thing about, I got a video and I wanted to show it to you. I might show it at the clinic, and there's a video where I'm fussing at Kobe. Yep.
I believe it.
I'm fussing at Kobe. I remember the moment. It was when he would shoot his jumper, and then he would go forward to go after the ball. Ball goes over his head, and they get a layup. They have them twice in a row. We do drills, conversion drills. Shot goes up, sprint back to half court, be ready to get back on defense. So on the video, I'm caught fussing at him about that. Now watch this. Not a cuss word, not a name call,
Mhm.
and I can say, well, I didn't do. Man, that was ugly.
Mhm.
It was ugly. Like putting myself in that moment where, but that is what I'm willing to admit now. That's what stress does to you. That's what not having the right, the focal point,
Mhm.
at that time frame was not right. That's where I was out of balance. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like, even though the man of God in you and the man of woman that's in your wife were able to understand that, man, that was ugly, but y'all know how much I love them. Y'all know
Yeah.
that.
Well,
But
one
but
thing I
my
don't think a lot of
but,
people gathered was the conversations that Colby would tell us about in the locker room, or
oh
the text messages. What people saw on the court was one thing,
yeah,
but what people weren't getting from their kids was Colby would let us know he was talking to Coach Hamilton, and we're like, oh, what's he saying? What y'all got going? And he was
yeah,
like, the things were lifting him up. And so
right,
it wasn't just there was some
yeah,
building back up. So
yeah,
that
yeah.
was helpful, in us,
Wow,
you know.
wow. But I tell you what, man, that's like I said, that's encouraging to hear, to know, because like I said, a lot of times, man, the noise, man, the noise can be real crazy, and I know, like I said, this is you living both sides of it, and that's why I wanted to invite you on, because of the experience that you had as being the coach and also being the parent. You
Mhm.
got this perspective that's unique. A lot of people don't have. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They don't understand, And but at the same time, you're grounded in your faith. Like you spend time investing in your life as a Christian. You don't just say you're a Christian, you actually spend time like reading this book they call the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Right.
that's it's not a common thing, and that's why it's important that we're able to model and because like I said, we want to be blameless. You know what I'm saying? And um, for that time frame, y'all were able to see past what you could see in that moment and understanding how much I love it. I appreciate it, man. I really do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, But so with that being said, like, how do you handle the pressure of performing while keeping the athlete's well-being in mind?
Oh man.
Yeah,
Uh,
where their state of mind, even though hey, we're here to win,
yeah,
but that thin line of still want to make sure that I'm keeping the athlete's well-being in mind.
yeah,
What's something that you can think of that you can say that helps you to? And I think you already kind of said it. Even with me, you said you knew that I was building Kobe up
yeah.
in the background, even though I would get him, for some games. But so for yourself, like I said, what's that tool that you use to try to keep that in the forefront of your mind when you're dealing with your coaching kids?
Yeah, what goes along with that, I would say, because that's kind of complex, really, but like balance. I hate to just keep coming back to that, but there is time in coaching that you got to be tough. I tell I coach girls, so I coach teenage girls.
Teenage girls.
Oh, and I love it, but I'm gonna tell you what, they're emotional beings, man. I mean,
Mhm.
I think that goes without saying, but
Yeah,
so am I. I'm an emotional guy too, but
yeah,
um, it, it, I I have to tell them often, hey guys, I do love you, but my number one responsibility is to be your coach. I want to be your friend, and one day that's all we'll be as friends. But
mhm,
right now, I'm here to try to make you better, and I can't fill your cup, but I can pour all of my cup I got into you. And it may not fill your cup, but I can give you everything I got. And at the end of the day, I want to know. I hate the pain of regret. Hate it. I say this all the time. I hate looking back on situations going, I could have done more or I could have done better.
yeah,
I held back or whatever. And I tell them I hate regret. And I
mhm,
hate when we leave a competition and when they have to walk off the mat going, man, we struggled here and they have to deal with regret. And I'm like, so I want to work you on the front side. I'm going to point out your errors. But then at the same time, I have to, and this is something I'll be honest. Whew, I had to really get better at this because I
mhm,
think it's human nature to find the negative and to, like I tell my coaches all the time, it's not hard for us to say, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this wrong, you're doing this
yeah,
wrong, you're
yeah,
doing this wrong. I think that's almost human nature. All
yeah,
right. Well, what's my job as a coach? I've got to figure out a prescription to get you doing it right. All right.
right,
And then after that, I've got to motivate you to want to do it that way and create the
yeah,
right habits.
yeah,
And so, for me, I had to really learn that other side of the coin, not just, come on, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this. I had to learn that, hey, you did it. That was what I'm asking from you. That's, there's a high five or,
okay,
or like what you did with Colby. I shoot a text. I'll say, hey, girl, if I was too hard on you tonight, I just want you to know it was because I see great potential in you. I know what you're capable of. And this team needs you to be that, or,
yeah,
that kind of stuff to try to really get their heart into what
yeah,
they're doing, and because
yeah,
I think that, they need that hard, but they also need that, hey, you did it right. That's what I'm looking for,
okay,
that's what we're
okay,
looking for. That's what the team needs, stuff like that. That's how, as far as their well-being, and I want them to enjoy what they're doing. I
yeah,
don't want them to dread practice. I've got a team right now that's, man, they are one of the hardest working groups of kids I have ever had.
yeah,
And they're so tough, man. I mean, they are good girls. They're the whole thing, man. They're fun to coach, but
yeah,
they enjoy practice, and that's not
yeah,
always the case. Some kids
yeah,
want to play the game, But these girls, they enjoy practice, and I want to make it that way. But I'm
Yeah.
constantly trying to share with them, here's what we're trying to do. And so there's no, discount prices in trying to get to that point. You gotta put the work in. So
No discount price.
no,
I love
no discount
no,
prices, no
no
Dollar
discount
Generals, man.
prices. Oh my God. Yeah, it's crazy because, and and I don't know if you all deal with this as much in cheer when it comes down to their future. Are the parents the same when it comes down to I want them to get a scholarship to college? You
Some of
know,
them are. Some of
yeah,
them
because
are. Yeah. We
yeah,
try
because
to
that's
we
one of the things
try to
in
get off of that.
basketball. That's a
Yeah.
big thing in basketball is everybody, in spite of looking at the product that's in front of them, they all think their kid is gonna get this big time scholarship. So, like I said, talking about Kobe. Kobe knew the reality because of him having a mother and a father that that y'all understood. Number one, the product when it comes down to okay, a 6'9" kid versus a 5'11" kid. You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
this kid is dunking and then this kid and Kobe is probably better than most kids I've coached. But the bottom line is they're looking for the 6'7", 6'8" kid. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the opportunity that he did get was a real opportunity.
Yeah.
Division III school, got a chance to go in, earned his way to varsity as a freshman. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's the reality that most basketball parents don't want to take. Like
Yeah.
it's an opportunity, and then he didn't hinge his life on basketball like that, and that comes from you. That comes from having a mother and father
Yeah.
that you all affirmed him, you know, outside of what he did. You affirmed him as the person that he is, and I think that's one of the things that as coaches, I try to do that. They'll tell you my conversation with the guys. I'm like, man, this is a game.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's meant to have fun, but at the same time, you're figuring out what kind of person you are while you're playing this game.
Oh
And
yeah.
if you're lazy, it's going to show. If you're hard headed, it's going to show. If you work hard, it's going to show. If you have a great attitude, it's going to show.
Yeah.
You're setting the precedent for the type of person you're going to be for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. There's so many great lessons in sport, man. I
Yeah.
mean, and when coaches miss out on that, and they are like you use that vernacular, like X's and O's, and they're just about the win. You talking about well-being? I mean, there was some steps that we had to take to try to. We had to step back from some things,
Mhm.
in our gym because I was beginning to hate it. I mean, there was it was about, I would say about 10 years ago, maybe 13 years ago.
Whew.
I mean, we got out of level 5 in our sport. Level 5 used to be the top level. Now they've changed some things and it goes to 6 and 7. But we stopped, we got out of level 5. We go up to level 4 now in our gym. Now we will train kids to do level 5 skills.
Mhm.
We just don't have the pool in our area to be able to go compete against Dallas and Houston and these monster gyms. We don't have that amount of kids to be able
Yeah.
to do that. And I
Yeah.
found myself, beginning to just hate it because
Wow.
of that. But as far as setting expectations too, yeah, we were real with Colby. We were like, dude, you can ball, but buddy, you got to look at what's out there. You have to look at what's out there. If those coaches aren't winning, they're not going to keep their job. They got to recruit guys that are going to help them be successful, And so he did have a great opportunity. He did. And I think it kind of kicked in about his senior year. He finally realized, because before that, it was a pursuit, man. It was a pursuit. And as a parent, you want to try, I get other parents, you want to try to give them opportunities. And, we take him to clinics. We let him do the travel thing and all those things. And, if it was the Lord's will, then fantastic. What a great platform that could be. I love it when you have Christian athletes, on stage glorifying God. I mean, that's awesome,
Yeah.
but that's not everybody's walk in life, that's
Right.
but God got a plan, and I think Colby finally realized that his his senior year that he'd play as long as he could, and after that, he was move on to something else. So
And it's crazy because he kept, he could have kept going at ETBU. Like it wasn't like he wasn't getting the opportunity. It just,
yeah,
would have been it's that progression, that you go through when you're not the stud physical athlete. It takes time. You
yeah,
were a freshman all over again. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like
yeah.
he definitely could have stayed in that program and over the next 2 or 3 years, been a starter, all those different things.
Hmm.
But he made a decision, just like
Yeah.
my little brother-in-law, Doyle Adams. He was a all district football player here at Benton. My father-in-law, Pastor Adams. Of course, they affirmed him outside of just the sport, and he got to Louisiana Tech. He was a walk-on. I think he stayed on about 3 years, I think.
Awesome.
And as he was getting closer to graduating, it was just like, it's time for me to go on.
Yeah.
And probably would have played. I think he played a little bit of special teams, if I'm not mistaken, and probably would have wound up playing. That on the back end, but it was like, man, I'm getting close to graduating and fulfilling the career that I want to do as a
Hmm.
pilot. He's a pilot now for
Oh,
American Airlines.
wow. Wow.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
he's an instructor. He's doing those things, but it doesn't take away the experience he had as an athlete. It was just he had parents that affirmed him outside of that, and they would have supported him if he kept playing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But he just made a decision. I'm getting close to graduating. It's time for me to go ahead and do
Yeah.
something different, and that's okay. Like
Yeah, absolutely. I think
that
it hurt me and Amber more than it did Colby when he made that decision. We were
really.
like, "Oh man, you gotta be kidding!"
Hey man, I was looking
It was,
forward to seeing him play. I was looking
I
forward
know it,
to it.
man. Those are
Yeah.
some of
So
the funnest things watching him play ball, man. I mean, so,
man,
but we'll
he's
we'll cherish that stuff forever. Now he's
yeah.
actually his team on the intramural there at Tech. His team won the Tech championship, so they're going to the state championship. So he's still balling.
I did the
Just
same thing. the
yeah,
same thing.
yeah. He's
I
still
got one.
playing
I
and
got
having good
one
fun.
state. I got one state championship and 3 run-ups.
Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. So he's loving it, man. He is
Oh
loving
man,
it.
that's like reliving high school all over again.
Oh, absolutely. And he don't have to do the practice. That's what he likes so much. He don't have to go through all the drills and all the suicides and the running. And
Oh,
he just gets to go hoop. So
that's cool, man. I
he's loving it.
love that. I love that. So with you get to coach. You're not inside of a school system, so you get to run it the way you want to run it. So with you being a pastor, of course, and coaching, um, do you have a routine when it comes down to sharing your faith with your student athletes, or is it kind of just within just however you're feeling that needs to be said and be led? Like, is it one of those things where, like I said, do you like every day or after every practice, every now and again, that you share your faith and you share Christ with them, or is it just something that just kind of comes out of you in the moment?
Well, we have developed some things over the years because I mean, as I talked before, God kind of convicted my heart about some things like, hey man, I've given you these opportunities to influence and what are you doing with it? So we've developed things like every coach in our gym, we always circle up with our team prior to starting practice. We usually warm them up. They run a few laps. I take them through some dynamic stretching. Every coach has little different regimens as far as their stretching routines.
Mm,
But before we kick off practice, after stretching, we always cross arms like a chain, and
okay.
we link up, and I lead my team in prayer. Some of the coaches lead their team sometimes. Sometimes they'll let a kid pray in the circle, but that's something that is every single time these kids practice. And then we end in prayer as well. We bring
Mm,
it back in, we circle back up. I'll kind of review back over practice and then we always pray then, and we'll have kids will bring up prayer requests and things like that, and that's really cool with our younger kids. That they love that, they love it, and then we do a thing with my older teams. We have 3 senior teams that age range from like 13 to 18.
mm-hmm.
With them, we practice all 3 of them on Wednesdays or at the exact same time,
Okay.
4:30 to 6:30. So what we've been doing over this year, I call them more than cheer moments, is what we
Mm-hmm.
call it.
Okay.
And more than cheer moments. And what I do is I take them through different. It's a chance for me to share scripture. It just depends. I always try to correlate it to something with our sport,
Okay.
whether maybe it's self-discipline or maybe it's coachability. Oh my goodness, being
Ah,
humble, humble enough to be able to take correction and understanding coachability. And I got my hands on some books a couple years ago, actually during COVID. I got my hands on some books that were just, I'm talking priceless,
mhm.
for coaching. And I go through those books and stuff like that. But we always get to share scripture and things like that during
Mhm.
that time. Anytime we compete out of town, and
Mhm.
it's over a Sunday, we have what's called Rebel Church. We stop.
Cool.
Yeah, the kids kind of coined that phrase, with but it's we all sometimes we'll do one, sometimes two or three different Rebel churches depending on when our teams are coming through the arena that day. And
Yeah.
that's been a blessing right there now, because that day on that, it's straight, word of God. And what
Yeah.
I usually will try to, connect the dots with some type of cheer thing. But at those, I really try to just, do whatever the Lord's laid on my heart. This past weekend at the CenturyLink, or at Brookshire Center over here, we got to do Rebel Church in the concourse area. Probably had, I bet there's 100 people there, listening to Rebel Church, between kids and parents and other programs even sometimes come and we'll get involved with it. And, so that's a great way. And I never,
Yeah.
when I get that opportunity, I never pass up that opportunity to just share the gospel.
Yeah.
There may be other points of it, but I always try to figure out a way to, just point people to Jesus Christ and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, that's what's all going to matter. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
so
love that, man.
some stuff's
That's
been
cool.
regimental, and we've developed it over the years. And then, but a lot of it too, man, is, what do you say? Your talk talks and your walk talks, but your walk talks louder than your talk talks. So we try
Yeah.
to we try to walk it, and
Yeah.
that's a constant battle. I mean, in the way that we talk to the kids and encourage the kids, and I mean, we got
Yeah.
to be tough. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They know that we don't play when it comes to discipline and things like that.
Yeah.
We accountability, very big about that, and
Yeah.
things. But at the end of the day, we hope that they see Christ in us and not just hearing words.
Yeah.
So and that's, I'll be honest, I think maybe every Christian would agree. That's the challenge. That's the
Well,
challenge.
and
Because
that's
we're in
what
the
I'll tell
flesh.
you. I think after my experience and what I went through, when I get another opportunity, I'm at a playing deal, and this year, and of course, it was tough. 0-22, bro. Nothing. I
Oh
mean,
man.
5 kids. You know what I'm saying? And so,
That-
and let me be honest. I know that there are some people that look at that and they laugh, but I don't care.
uh,
Like, I don't care. That's really, like, you would think that my ego and pride that would, but it doesn't. I've these last couple of years, man. I've just had to reassess myself,
mm,
um, because I know I'm going to get another opportunity to win at a high level. But ultimately, I needed to win on the inside. I
yeah.
needed to win on the inside. Man, that just popped in my head. So that
Yeah.
might be something I need to coin that phrase.
Yeah.
But I need to win on the inside, man. One of the things that I know moving forward, um, I feel like when the butt chewing is extremely loud, I think that's about the coach.
Mm,
That's me talking. This is me. This is,
yeah.
and I'll say that about me. I think that's about me. But when I have a way of correcting without the shame, then it's about the kid.
Yeah.
And and
We
that is something that, because of what I struggle with insecurity growing up. And I went back and forth with that in my life up to this point at 44 years old. And that's something I think, look at how transparent I'm being now. Like, I'm willing to say that, like,
mm,
because I know I'm not the only one. It's
oh
just, I'm trying to create this platform and this place where us as coaches, we can have these conversations
Mm.
and dig at ourselves, because these kids, this is such a fragile time right now in our world, and with emotional, with all this behavior interventionists and mental health and all this stuff that's going on. And it's like, as coaches, man, yeah, we want to win, but man, we got to be the best version of ourselves to make sure we don't break these kids. Uh,
Absolutely.
Now, we do need to break them to grow them. Like, you gotta, but like I said, for me, my team this year, nobody could ever say at 0-22, and we lost every game 40, 50 points. But nobody could ever say that we quit.
Yeah.
They never could say we laid down. They never
There's
could
still
say,
great lessons in that, you know.
I'm telling you, man, that was one of the things that, and I hate to use this term, but I got to use it for understanding. That's something I took great pride in with my guys, is that we are here to be high character. We're going to do the things that we do as hard as we can. We're going to play for each other. We're not going to lay down. We're not going to get attitudes. And when I had these 5 boys show up every day, getting whooped 40 and 50 points every night, and they showed up every day.
That's awesome.
And when we had moments of frustration, I call a quick timeout to remind them. And it wasn't no butt chewing and wasn't none of that. It was, hey, we're going to play the right way as best as we can. We're not going to walk away from here with our heads down. It is what it is. We don't have the talent. That's fine. But we have the character.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, that was the same attitude I had at Airline. But I still let me get in the way. I got in the way. And that's okay, because I'm here for God to glorify himself through my life. And if that means he had to take that away from me for a season, for me to go to the backside of the wilderness for him to work on me, then that's what it takes. And I mean, and so that's one of the things that I want to make sure that we're opening up with this platform, man, to be able to talk about that. And we're getting ready to close out here. And I want you to give us an opportunity with, you've known me for a while, and then also you see what I've been doing over the course of the last 2 or 3 years. Like, what is it that you're looking forward to sharing mostly at this clinic, the Coaches C.O.D.E clinic? Like, what is it that you anticipate that you get a chance to share in this venue? And why should coaches, consider being in this environment?
Yeah, man, it's hard. That's a hard one to narrow down. I guess if I were just to come to one thing, is just maybe the coaches recognizing the opportunity that we have in the lives of young people. See, if you get somebody this age, man, I'm stuck. Most people, they get older, they're not changing. They're not pliable. But when young people, young athletes, young, teenagers, younger than that, they're still pliable. They're still developing into who they will become. And maybe we can head off some horrible consequences that I had to experience. Maybe we can head that off earlier when they are pliable. And I think coaches sometimes may miss out on opportunities like that because they're just worried about the W. They just got to get the W, and everybody loves to win. I mean, I don't think you'd be in coaching if you weren't competitive and want to try to win, but if that's all the focus is, I tell our parents a lot in our parent meetings at the beginning of the season. I'm like, I came to terms a long time ago that if all I ever do is teach a kid a back handspring, I have missed the mark, bro. I mean, I have missed. If I, and I'd say that about every sport. If all I ever do is, teach somebody how to dribble with both hands or shoot a layup, or I missed my purpose, because we have such a great opportunity as coaches to really influence young people, and we choose to influence and try to point people to Jesus Christ because, in everything, he's the common denominator, man. He's the only thing that is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Everything in our world changes, but he is solid. So we do that. But even whatever it might be, even if it's not anything spiritual, teaching them to have good character, hold down a job, be be a good teammate, because you're going to be part of teams all your life, your family, your coworkers. And then how many people work with people that are lazy and they don't want them to be their teammate? You know,
Right.
how many deadbeat dads, how many, spouses are out there that are not good team members,
Yeah.
So, we constantly I tell my kids a lot that I coach it, hey, you're gonna be part of a team all your life. And I
Rest of
want you
your
to be a
life.
good spouse. I want you to be a good coworker. I want people to want you on their team, not be able to be counted on, and so I think we have a great opportunity as coaches, and that is something I hope that every coach that has that opportunity will tap into that, and really,
Yeah.
yeah, man, work hard, try to win,
Yeah.
certainly, but man, don't miss out on that very few years that we have
Yeah.
with these young people to
Yeah.
try to influence them.
That's absolutely,
And
man. This.
it's a multiplication effect. Think of all the people that can affect their families, the other teams that they're part of in the future. So yeah, definitely can't discount coaching. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Great opportunity.
I appreciate that, man, and we're looking forward. We're getting close to closing out here, man, and we're definitely looking forward. I mean, because even this conversation today, that we're having. I mean, for those of you that are still on the hinges, man. Yeah, look, we invite you to come out March 29th. Man, it's going to be a wonderful environment. If you're looking to grow in this profession and have the opportunity to impact the young people in your life, man, this is going to be a great opportunity, and it's the beginning. This is the beginning. We don't claim to have all of the answers, but we do have a lot of experience that's going to be on this panel to be able to help young coaches and even veteran coaches who are looking to shift in their careers. So, man, Mr. Jason, I'm just, man, thank you so much.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely. Thanks for the
it's
opportunity.
nothing else to really say. It's just to thank you. Because this conversation can go on and on, but I think we've said enough today to get people to understand how important it is for us to focus as coaches on our personal well-being, so we can create environments that our student athletes can thrive in sports and in life. And
Absolutely.
so, man, much love, man, and don't go anywhere. I'm gonna do a little plug here at the end,
All right.
and we're gonna shut it out. And so, um, let's see here. All right, so we are grateful for Mr. Jason Oakley talking with us today here at the Coaches Code. We thank you for tuning in. Like I said, we hope you all get a chance to come out to the clinic. Please share this video with anybody you know that's in coaching or in leadership at all. We're grateful for this opportunity. And here, I also want to make sure that y'all understand that right here, this is the framework. This book right here, The Complete Coach, is what we're um, basing our clinic off of. The principles out of this book that I've been graced to write. So, like I said, if you're not able to come to the clinic, down at the bottom, you can see there. You can find it at eddiejhamilton.com/the complete coach. And also comes with a workbook as well to accompany it, so you can apply those principles, to your coaching life, man. And so, man, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And until next time, y'all take care. All right.